project is on indie pop, with the focus on the band Vampire Weekend. Vampire Weekend consists of Ezra Koenig, Chris Baio, Chris Thompson, and formerly Rostam Batmanglish. Formed in 2006 at Columbia University in New York. Although studying different things, they shared a mutual love for punk music and African music. Ezra toured with the band The Dirty Projectors, which sparked an interest for Ezra to explore global sounds in their first album. The name Vampire Weekend was created by Ezra after watching the film The Lost Boys, and decided to make his own movie about a man warning Cape Cod because vampires were invading the United States. Although the project was abandoned only after a few days, this sparked the name of the group.
I see a mansard roof through the trees. I see a salty message written in the eaves. The ground beneath my feet, the hot garbage and concrete. Now the tops of buildings, I can see them too.
After graduation, the band still stayed together even though they went to pursue full-time jobs. They created their self-titled album, with its released on January 29, 2008. It was produced by Rostam and includes the hits Mansard Roof, A-Punk, and Oxford Comma. A-Punk was also featured on Just Dance 2.
As a young girl, Louis Vuitton.
In 2009, their second album was planned on its release. Vampire Weekend was signed to XL Records in London. There was some delay, but Vampire Weekend was able to release Contra in 2010. Contra followed a different style to their self-titled, but didn't abandon all the styles their first release had. Songs such as Diplomat's Son and Holiday had similar sounds to their first album, while Giving Up the Gun and Cousins really stuck out since they had a more of an electronic sound, with less focus on percussion. The world beat element wasn't completely abandoned by the band, but it didn't play as much of a role as it did initially. Contra was nominated for a Grammy for Best Alternative Album, but lost to the Black Keys. In 2012, Vampire Weekend planned on releasing their third album, Modern Vampires of the City. Unfortunately, this was later pushed to 2013 because the band didn't want to feel rushed with the album and wanted to make sure the album was completely clean sounding. Rostam also produced this album along with Ariel Reshad, who has produced albums for artists such as U2, Blood Orange, and Usher. The album was a huge hit with great commercial success. Although there wasn't such a strong focus on the world sound, Vampire Weekend followed an indie pop sound. This album also focused on religion, especially in songs such as Yeah Hey and Unbelievers. Big hits off of Modern Vampires of the City included Unbelievers, Dying Young, and Yeah Hey. Vampire Weekend also won a Grammy for Best Alternative Album, going up against The National and 9 Inch Nails.
You toss aside like a pile of leaves. I gotta find some better weeds. 4 or 5 meter run around the bend when the government may just surround you again. If dying young won't change your mind, baby, 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 right on time. Out of control, but you're playing a role. You think you can go to the 18th hole, where you flip flop the day of the championship. Try to go it alone on your own forbid. If dying young
2016, Rostam had decided to depart from the group to pursue his own music, but agreed to help out on the fourth album. Rostam released his first solo album, called Half-Light, on September 8, 2017. Rostam is currently touring and has sold out in Boston. In March of 2017, Ezra posted on his Instagram saying Mitsubishi Macchiato was going to be the name and was initially planned to be released in 2017. It has been pushed to 2018. Along with Rostam, Ezra and Bayo have also been pursuing solo projects. Although not quitting Vampire Weekend, they had taken a break to pursue other things, such as creating an animated series and solo music projects. Ezra has created his own anime series, while Bayo has been pursuing his own music. He released his album, The Names, in 2015. In 2017, Bayo released another album, Man of the World, with the big single, Philosophy. CT also pursued a solo music career with the release of his first album, Youngish American, in 2017.
Nation business, a modern piece of glasswork down on the corner that you walk each day in passing. The elderly sales clerk won't ask with suspicion. The whole of motor corporations giving its permission. A little stairway, a little piece of carpet, a pair of mirrors that are facing one another. Out in both directions, 1,000 little Julias. They come together in the middle of Manhattan.
Musical influences include world styles, but also indie. Vampire Weekend is often identified as, quote, indie, since they were independent at one time with no recording label. Chris Bayo has said in interviews that the Beatles were a major influence because of their poppy sound, while still experimenting with different sounds. Paul Simon was also a major influence on percussion because the sounds were interesting and suited the Vampire Weekend sound. Rostam's Don't Let It Get to You sampled the song The Obvious Child by Paul Simon.
Got a little soul, the world is a cold, cold place to be. Want a little warmth, but who's gonna save a little warmth for me? We know the fire awaits unbelievers, all of the sinners the same. Girl, you and I would die, unbelievers bound to the tracks of the train.
Personal influences come into play too. Rostam is gay, so the song Diplomat's Son has often been thought to be a gay love song. With the lyrics, That night I smoked a joint with my best friend, we found ourselves in bed, when I woke up he was gone, is thought to be a romantic story between the diplomat's son and someone else. Ezra is Jewish, and he described religious views in songs like Obvious Bicycle and Yeah Hey. Obvious Bicycle has the lyrics, It's been 20 years and no one's told the truth, so listen, oh, don't wait. While Yeah Hey has the lyrics, Oh you saint, America don't love you, so I could never love you, in spite of everything.
One look sent leads to the ground. Young bloods can't be settling down. Young hearts need the pressure to pound. So hold me close, my baby. Don't lie, I want 'em to know God's love's dying. Is it ready to go? It's the last time running through snow where the vaults.
Historical influences include references to Massachusetts. The song Ladies of Cambridge includes the lyrics, I've had dreams of Boston all of my life, Chinatown between the sounds of the night. Cape Cod in Massachusetts was a major theme in the self-titled album and of the EPs. Vampire Weekend has faced criticism because many listeners have thought of the music to be stealing from other musicians, who may not be as popular in the Western world. The band has also been described as being, quote, white, even though none of them identify as English. Rostam is thought to be, quote, Latino, or Asian, even though he's Iranian. The band has also been considered privileged because of their Ivy League education.
Who gives a fuck about an Oxford comma? I've seen those English dramas too. They're cruel. So if there's any other way to spell the word, it's fine with me. With me. Why would you speak?
Vampire Weekend, like most bands, changed their sound as they got older. The music got more complex as they released more albums. Song lyrics became deeper. Instead of "I see you, you're walking across the campus," quote professor studying romances, turned into "If I can't trust you, then damn it, Hannah, there's no future, there's no answer." The music also wasn't as formulaic when the band got older. Mansard Roof and M79 follow very similar patterns, and the music got more complex and surprising as time went on. Young Lion plays with Rostam's vocals, and although the melody is simple, the song is a great way to end Modern Vampires of the City. Vampire Weekend changed their sound because creating the same music is boring, but changing their sound allowed them to create new music and experiment.
You take your time, young life.
I chose Vampire Weekend because they are one of my favorite bands. Vampire Weekend is similar to any other artist in that they use their influences to create music. Vampire Weekend is influenced by Paul Simon and the Beatles, while Paul Simon and the Beatles were influenced by Bob Dylan. Vampire Weekend is known to use different instruments, one including the tar, which produces a hypnotic effect.
Occident, out on the weekend. That's the way that we relax. English breakfast tastes like Darjeeling, but she's too cute.
Thank you for listening, and this is the end of my presentation. Vampire Weekend ends every show with the song Walcott, so I will end my presentation with the song Walcott.
Don't you know that it's insane? Don't you wanna get out of Cape Cod tonight? Walcott, Mystic Seaport is that way. Don't you know that your life could be lost out of Cape Cod tonight? Don't you know that it's insane? Don't you wanna get out of Cape Cod tonight? Walcott, the bottleneck is a shit show. Hyannisport is a ghetto. Out of Cape Cod tonight. The lobster's claw is last night.